Hi everybody. This video is going to be titled, Are we escaping from the US or are we running toward our dream life in France? And my response to that is, why can't it be both? Why can't it be both? Just a teaser here. This is not going to be a fun and comfy video. It's not going to be all dreamy and fairy tale-y and airy-fairy. There are many reasons that my husband and I decided that we were going to move to France sooner rather than waiting for retirement. There are a lot of reasons that we decided we were going to pack up our place, sell everything but the precious things, take our pets, and go. And some of those things are very positive, and some of those things are negative. This last week has been yet another thing that has piled on to our desire to go be somewhere else. Somewhere outside of the US. Because we know that no matter who you are, this country is no longer safe for anyone. When we first began telling people we were moving to France, very shortly after the most recent presidential election, a few people said, "Oh, so you're running away? You're escaping?" I tended to respond kindly by saying, "No, we're running toward a lifelong dream. Just sooner than we had planned." But I've come to realize that it's both. We are both escaping and running toward what we want. I've wanted to live in Europe, particularly France or Italy, since I was a young artiste who wanted to wear that proverbial beret or hat and paint from a bridge. My husband and I were both entranced by France and Italy when we traveled there back in 2016, and we started talking then about, wow, I could live here. Maybe we want to live here. Maybe we want to retire there. But we have chosen to go before our retirement, and we'll continue working. This past week has cemented to us that the United States is no longer our American dream. This video is being filmed with a heavy heart. I'm sure you're probably already figuring out that it's about gun violence. In the last week, there's been another school shooting, this time at a Catholic school on the first day of school, while these children and adults and older people were in a prayer meeting, a mass opening the beginning of school. 2 little kids were killed, numerous others were injured badly, and all we've heard from the higher ups in our political sphere is thoughts and prayers. They were in a prayer meeting. And that didn't stop the bullets. This is just one of many, many mass shootings that have taken place even just in the last few months. And it will be only one of many that are going to take place over this school year. Now, gun violence has become the leading cause of death in kids in the US. That's insane. Now let me be clear. I don't have all of the solutions to this issue. I'm just sharing all of my all over the place thoughts about, yes, this is one of the reasons that we are heading out. The last year I taught high school, in the 2022-23 school year, we had no fewer than 4 practice active shooter lockdowns. And we had 2 real lockdowns where we were told to lock down and stay in place because there was the potential that somebody very dangerous was on campus and making threats. Luckily, those things turned out to be quenched quickly, and we didn't have any mass shootings in our school. Yay, us. We got a whole year through without any big violence. This, even more than the incredibly toxic behavior by administration toward teachers, was a huge source of anxiety for me. Not only was I worried for every student in my classroom and the classroom surrounding, I was worried for myself as well. And in 2022, remember, these were students who had been locked down for COVID for almost a year and a half before going back into the classroom. And they were met with active shooter drills and stuff that they hadn't had to deal with so much while being at home. Now, granted, they wanted to be back in school with their friends and stuff like that, but this ought not be a concern for people just living in public. So the fact is, the United States isn't safe. It's not safe for us. It's not safe for anybody. Yes, there is crime everywhere, even violent crime, and France is no exception. There are terrorist attacks. There is the occasional car running into a crowd. However, they happen so seldom there that when it does happen, it shocks the world and makes world news. And then our politicians will grab hold of it and say, see, it's not the guns, it's people. I'm not going to respond to that. But it's not even close to the level of crime, and even further away, mass shooting events. Not even close to what the U.S. sees. We have so many mass shootings now in the United States that most of them don't even get a blink on the world stage or even on the national stage. So give me a break. It is the guns. A very angry person without access to a gun is much less likely to murder people than a pissed off, messed up person with access to guns. Now, people are being kidnapped and disappeared in plain sight, in broad daylight, separated from their families, sent to places far away, countries that they don't even come from in many cases, and just disappeared by masked, armed, vigilante acting people playing cop. Our own military is being weaponized against its own people. Due process kind of feels like a long ago fever dream because it's not happening. And this is all while people like Elon Musk and other high up politicians raise Nazi salutes on national TV and then try to say later that it wasn't really a Nazi salute, it was an old-fashioned Roman salute. Yeah, that's what it was. So it's all just a big pile of bovine fecal matter that they keep feeding the public. Healthcare, including mental health care, is being taken away from people, and then they're going to turn around and blame mentally ill people for the mass shootings. But now all these people are saying, thoughts and prayers, and when people talk about gun control, all of a sudden again it's, but my Second Amendment rights. Read the damn Second Amendment. It's not even about that. Because their Second Amendment rights apparently are more important than a slew of murdered children. By Monday, this news report, this new shooting is going to be buried by a mound of other despicable things that are happening, and it will be forgotten. By the news, anyway. And even though mass shooters are 99% white guys, dudes, this particular one was committed by a trans woman, a very disturbed young woman. So there will be more cries to ban trans children and ban health care for transgender people and all of those things, again, as if that is what caused all of the mass shootings in history. Apparently, here in the U.S., God is okay with your children being slaughtered, as long as those people can keep their freedom and have their guns. However, LGBTQ plus people, brown people, black people, women of color especially, virtually anyone who's not a white man is fair game for oppression and removal of rights. There's a guy named Rich Kagan who writes articles daily on Substack. Go find him. It's Rich Kagan, Kagan. He's funny and he's poignant and he makes so much sense all the time. So go find him, subscribe to his Substack, and share it with people. He, his husband, and their daughter moved to France. And he shares his reasons why. And I want to read to you a quote from him of what he said about this after this shooting. He said, "I was not going to be the dad pacing around wondering if today would be the day I got the call no parent ever wants. School, movies, parades, marathons, grocery stores, parking lots, a high school dance. It's all fair game in America." End quote. The rest of his article is just as poignant, so you should go find him, like I said. The U.S. is sending us a clear message. They don't want to fix mental health care. They don't want people to be educated about our history or anything else. They don't want to create safe, nurturing environments for our children or for anyone. Now, why am I saying this on my decluttering, dreaming, and departing We're Moving to France channel? As one woman who tried to tone police my most recent video said, "You should leave politics out of your videos and be more respectful of the feelings of people who don't agree with you." But trust me, If you continue to watch my videos, you'll continue to see me put my opinion in there. And if you are a supporter of the current regime, and you're a supporter of pedophiles and racists and people who want to disappear people off the streets, then you will hear opinions from me. I'm not infected by the cult of anti-woke people who think the only people who should have rights or opinions are white, right-wing people. But on the other end, those liberals who aren't there fighting, I still get a little flack too. But you should stay and fight then, they say. Or, as I said at the beginning of the video, oh, so you are running away. Yes, we're running away. We're also running toward a better, safer life. Sadly, we live in a world where people would rather make a giant politicized fight about a book in a public school that shows a kid with two moms because their children are apparently too fragile to know about those things. But they still don't want to fight to keep their kids from being murdered in their classrooms. It is pure insanity, and my heart goes out to every parent who has to feel this way when they send their kids to school. Every single day. So, are we running away? Yes. We're running to a place where we continue to fight for the marginalized people, and we'll continue to advocate for people and the oppressed and children and LGBTQ plus folks. But we'll still be safe from some masked dude dressed in military fatigues banging on our door to start a home invasion. We'll be safe from those dudes cosplaying as cops breaking into our house or shooting us. We're escaping to a place where we can still be in a market and not worrying about somebody with an AR-15 trying to mow us all down. We'll be in a place where people still have a modicum of respect for human life, where guns are there, but are tightly controlled. So are we moving for the beauty of France and for the dream of living in a place that has so much beauty and virtually has trains to everywhere? Or public transportation, where we can buy food straight from a local farm and not have to get it from one of the 6 to 10 giant conglomerate factory farm groups that ship it all over the United States? Heck yeah. Where we can walk out the door and have access to everything we need in a community of people who actually care about each other's welfare? You betcha. We are running to all of that. We're not going in thinking this is some airy, fairy, wonderful land of all the good things where the good fairy just says bippity boppity boo and you're fine and everything's wonderful. There are obviously going to be problems wherever you are. There are going to be crimes wherever you are. There are going to be homeless people wherever you are. But we're also running away from for-profit healthcare, the insane inflation and failing economy that we're seeing happening all around us, and the gun culture. For anyone who needs to hear it, you don't have to feel guilty about separating yourself from a place that doesn't work for you anymore. I have fought almost my entire 59 years of life for the oppressed, the underdogs, the kids who were bullied, the persecuted minorities, and I will continue fighting, but not from here. Okay, so I promise you the next video will be about much easier and nicer things. In fact, it's going to be about our trip to France and Italy that made us decide we wanted to live there one day. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't. I hope to see you soon. And virtual love and hugs to anyone who really needs it right now. Bye.